Desnatical.
We live in an amazing era, an era where women and men bravely step forward under the hashtag #MeToo to fight for a more just and equal world for all of God's children. And now, the latest Twitter hashtag that is fighting for a more secure and safe and equal society is the Icelandic hashtag Karlmennskan, which is Icelandic for manliness, masculinity. I think manliness is the best translation here. And yeah, let me introduce you to the bastard hashtag of the modern day social justice movement that nobody wanted and nobody really needed. So this hashtag was started by, I believe, 2 members of the left-green movement. Yes, that is that left-green movement. Yep, the one who gave us this Prime Minister. They weren't senators though. One of them was Sóley Tómasdóttir, who I believe is a member or was a member of the Reykjavik City Council, and Einar Vav Þorsteinsson, and he was apparently a lower member of the Senate. Like, he never served in the Senate, but he was somebody's replacement senator if his senator got sick. I don't know what a replacement senator does, actually. But let's talk about this hashtag Karlmennskan. So basically what's happening is that men are posting on Twitter and other social media accounts. I don't know. I don't own Twitter myself. So basically they're posting instances out of their lives or moments in their lives where they talk about how negative male stereotypes have, well, negatively impacted their life and prevented them from acting in a, I don't know, in accordance with their actual emotions or whatever, or something like that. And here's the thing, yes, I know that there are a lot of negative male stereotypes, and yeah, sometimes they, you know, I feel like these negative stereotypes have negatively affected me also, like, oh, aren't you a man, why don't you stand up to yourself, and all of that crap. But yeah, let's just look at some of the hashtags, and as I go through them, I'm gonna explain to you basically why I think this is a waste of ink. I mean, not ink, thankfully this isn't printed anywhere. I mean, it may appear in the local paper, but it's still just confined to the internet, and I wouldn't want to waste ink or paper into this, because this is just basically, to me, this particular hashtag, or mainly the things people are posting around this, are absolute non-issues. Allow me to demonstrate. One thing you still need to just take into consideration here as I read through these is that obviously there are going to be a lot of trolls. So not everybody who posted something on this actually meant that they were saying. But let's imagine that at least 3/4 of them actually did. I'm just guessing the likely proportions of trolls on the internet. Alright, the first one is obviously a troll, or I'm guessing. I support that men should be allowed to drink colorful, beautiful cocktails without being criticized. At least I am ready to put my effort into this while I'm here in Benidorm. So yeah, obvious troll, but between you and me, you know what's less manly than ordering a colorful cocktail at the bar? Being too much of a pussy to go to the bar and order whichever fucking drink you want. Here's the thing, if I want a colorful cocktail, which admittedly doesn't happen all that often, because I usually just go for a beer or something, but you know, every now and then I'll be at that kind of bar that sells really cool colorful drinks. You know what I do? I go to the bar, I look the bartender straight in the eye, and I usually just point to the guy next to me because I don't want to read what the cocktails are called, so I just point at that cocktail and go, "One of these, sir. Here, keep the change." I don't actually let the waiter keep the change. I'm fucking cheap. This guy says, "My 10-year-old boy was on his way south for a handball tournament. I hugged him goodbye in the bus right before it took off. Another boy said, 'Hey, can I also get a hug?' I ended on hugging most of the boys who wanted me to." Hashtag manliness, the new one. Let's spread this and grow it. If you want to hug a child that asks for it, go ahead. Jeez. This guy says, I have looked into the eyes of children and I have found out that nobody is born with harshness or violence in them. Soft boys learn to be hard. Hard boys learn to toughen up even more. Some can't take it and they suffer. Some can't take it worse and they die. That took a dark turn. Okay, here is Soleil herself. Me and my grandfather could sometimes, when we talked about my grandmother who died 5 years ago, cry together. I have often looked up to him for being able to do that with me, but I appreciate him even more for it now. Really? Okay. Yes, men usually don't cry in public, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but there's nothing perceivably unmanly about crying with your relatives when somebody close to you has died. I have never seen that. I mean, I cried when my grandmother's funeral. I even cried when 2 of my cats died, most of the people, men that I know, would admit doing the exact same thing. Now, they would preferably not to break out and cry in the middle, you know, in the middle of a public setting, but yeah, men cry. This is not a new thing here. There's nothing being oppressed about, but preferably so, men would like to cry in private or with somebody they trust. Why not let them do that? Like, here's the thing about all this. Basically, people are fighting for what I consider to be a useless cause. Men do cry, we all know that. We just prefer to cry separately, alone, or around people that we trust highly. And we like to, when we open our emotions, we like to also do it in such manners. And okay, yes, some men are very closed off and, will always keep their manly pride around or whatever, but whatever happened to individual expression? But here's the thing, again, individual expression, even though I think most of these things are pretty pointless and really don't accomplish anything, people want to post about their manliness or want to open themselves up or whatever, cool. Do you, boo. I don't care. I don't judge. That's your business. It's not mine. I won't. I'm quite satisfied with the way I deal with my manliness or whatever. But let's take a look at a few more. Hashtag Karlsvenskan got me to think about my grandfather from the West, who was the strong type. When he says the West, I'm guessing he means either Snæfellsnes or the Westfjords. When my grandmother passed away, I don't remember seeing him cry, but then many years later I read his diary that he had written, and it said there with a blue marker, "She died today." So what? Did he cry? Didn't he cry? Because I think he's trying to make it sound like he didn't cry, but how the fuck would you know? I mean, couldn't he just have written in his diary she died today and he decided to not write down the fact that he may have broken down into tears? That's very likely. People edit their diaries all the time and leave out certain parts because they don't think they're worth mentioning or just think they don't want to remember a particular thing. That's what a diary is all about. You write down the things that you think are useful to remember or you would like to remember. I mean, sure, people also write negative things into diaries, but you know what I mean. A diary is basically an edited version of your memory, so to speak. Okay, here is a dude that says, "Me and my wife have tried to have a baby for a very long time. I find it difficult to say it out loud. I find it's difficult to get questions about if there's not a child coming along, and I'm afraid of being gutlader, broken, and I'm afraid of failure. Okay, here's the thing, I'm pretty sure that the woman in this relationship probably feels the exact same thing, because when it comes to societal pressure on having children, I think the pressure is pretty strong on women too. So the lesson here in this case is don't socially oppress people into having babies. This guy says, I don't get angry, I just get incredibly hurt and then I cry. Okay? Okay, here we actually have a woman, and she says, I can't get mad into those men who are making fun at the hashtag karlmennskan because I can't better see than they need this movement the most. And here's another guy, this is gonna be the last one. He says, I cried my eyes out when my daughter was born. Was told to keep my chin up and don't do that there in the maternity ward. Stopped crying anyway. Who the fuck told you that? What the... Again, this is another of those moments where it is obviously so very socially acceptable for men to cry. I mean, your fucking daughter just got born, man. Jeez. So, okay, here's one guy who I absolutely agree with, and I think he did, you know, and he should not have been made fun of. So, whoever this person is that talked to him is an asshole. But, again, who the hell sees a father crying of joy when his daughter has just been born and tells him to cut it out? Like, I haven't been there when any children were born, so there's that. I don't have any children of my own. You know, if there's any ladies out there who want to help me fix that, you know, I'd be up for that, you know, just, you know. Anyway, so yeah, I haven't found myself in this particular situation, obviously, but I'm surprised that this stuff happens. So, I guess the lesson here is that maybe there's just a lot of man discrimination that I have been unfortunate enough to never experience, so maybe I think this whole thing is kind of silly because of that. But in all honesty, I think most of these hashtags are absolutely ridiculous, and they're trying to make an issue out of an absolute non-issue.
Das Radikal.